thought we'd prepare just a couple things for you.
Wait a minute, you know there's too many people.
How many times have you had that
I know
problem?
I always said not to double the parts.
All right, sit down, fella.
I want you to feel at home.
Here we go. 1, 2, 1. Trumpet section, right, John? It's actually renamed them the firing squad. That should be a name familiar to you. Crash, Emmanuel Del Pizzo. Mark Coates. George Hudson. Tony McAdam. Steve Bentley. Robert Allen. Woo! Woo! We're going to slow it down a little bit.
You played that better now than when you were in school.
Are you talking to me? Or is it? Oh, no, he was talking to me.
Hey, John, we're old farts now, man.
We get it now.
You get it now. Whatever we don't get, we don't care.
1, 2, 3. obviously feature the trombone section. Brett White, class of '01. Bruce Muscarella. Dave Ernst. And again, the trumpet section, class, well done. All right. We'll set it back. Another Oliver Nelson chart coming out here.
Surprise, surprise.
John introduced us to our Oliver Nelson, all of us throughout the years. And his unique writing and voicings, I think inspired all of us. And I know inspired John in his writings. And when my band first came in, after Pit Stop, it was a small group, a very small group. And John knew that coming in. And I heard the Pit Stop band, I was like, I want to be part of this. And I remember showing up and there were 2 trombones, 1 saxophone, French horn, and 4 trumpets. And I'm like, what's this? And John said, you don't worry, because I got some really cool things planned. And the French horn was a beautiful orchestration. But John wrote for our band, and that was the beginning of Abstract Truth. So it was just to see that creative spirit and process from the beginning. Hard to explain how cool of an educational experience that was for all of us. But this is not the small band version, sorry, John. Nothing I could do about that, everybody wanted to play. One, two, 1, 2, 3. Brian Dydick on tenor saxophone. Michael Lee on alto saxophone. And Jerry Crawford on alto saxophone. Mr. Tony McEnany on trumpet. And Mr. Brent White on trombone. How you doing, John?
I'm doing okay.
Okay. I think you'll remember this one too. I'm not sure, but I think so.
I remember it all. I won't share that with you.
Well, we had our 1 hour tour a little while ago, and then this is the recording sessions.
Oh, that's it, yeah, right.
Ready, guys? Sax?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. invite up an old dear friend of John's, Craig Thomas, who has played with John many years, to join us on bass guitar for these next two numbers. Please welcome Craig.
Pretty good.
One, two, 3. scratch on Trump lead. I was so excited. It was so much fun. Manuel Depizzo on trumpet. We have a really special moment. Give the band a little bit of a chop break. But more importantly, to invite a very old and dear friend of John's up, and of all of ours too. Ron Thomas, we all remember from the early days when John would need someone to come in and give lessons or whatever. He had all his peers, his close friends that were the top players in not just the area, I think in the Northeast, if not farthest. I know Mike Meagher was there, taught my wife, and Mike Falcone, who's no longer with us. Rocco Benny. And Ron Thomas was an integral part of those years. I think I understand, Ron, did you tour at one point in time with the band because they didn't have a pianist?
87.
Yeah, college tour.
Yeah. So, did you let him drive the bus?
He never let
I always
us
wanted to drive the bus.
Through the snowmobile.
So, this is a very special song that John wrote. That it was Ron's idea to play this for John as a duet with Tony, his stepson. So here we are, it's Return by John Vanore. that was just great. Tony, man. Tony. We're going to feature Jerry Crompton, the sax section. We're going to a beautiful Nelson ballad. John, I think you'll remember this one too. I'm not sure, but we'll give it a whirl. Okay? Saxes, you ready? One, two, three, four. Obviously, Jerry Crompton on alto sax. You've been listening to a great sax section. Bob Solinsky, baritone sax. Steve Sanborn, baritone sax. John Booth, tenor. Mike Meagher, alto. Jeff Gates, tenor. Glenn Didas, tenor. And Amy Kuzmarek, who was a more recent addition to the band, so she didn't get her name in the program. But we're blessed to have her here. Thank you, Amy, for coming. We have Bob Douglas on the bass. David Ramey on drums and Dave DeFusco on drums. And Nancy Heffel-Piebner on piano. Welcome, Nancy. Yeah, I think you know this one too, John. I'm not sure. Ready, guys?
John, you need to stand on the table.
With the lights off. Now play it. I can't see the notes.
The secrets are coming out.
We're waiting to get something thrown at us.
You don't need the notes.
I have to let you guys know that my current boss is here and I can't use the language that you're Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this.
Hey, John, we're old enough now, we can.
Joe.
We can do a childish one.
Oh, yeah, why don't you let me play the other ones instead of crying?
Why don't you come on up?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, Mark?
Mark, your first lead trumpet player.
By the way, I didn't know if you had I did go through the whole section. You have George Headley on lead as well, Crash Del Pizzo, Robert Allen, Tony McInerney, and Gene Bennett.
Okay, I have a presentation here.
There we go. Oh, man.
All right.
So John, here's the
I
whole-
just don't want to sit back and cry, I might as well have some fun.
We're doing a little different. So Nancy's going to play a cappella whole form. So we're not playing, nothing's coming in. And Mark is going to start on the solos, and he's going to hand it over to you.
Okay.
So this is Mark, John's first lead trumpet player.
Yeah.
So, anyway, those guys, hold that razor blade up. When they graduated, so you hear all those sizzling notes there. I used to tell them, you gotta feel like razor blades are shooting out of the bells and trumpet. And they made me that razor blade. So, wow, that was pretty long ago. But I kept it. All right, shut up. Just tell me when you're fine.
John, you've never done this tune before, man?
Child
Well, we've got a few people that wanted to say a couple of words. And I'd like to invite up our first guest, Bob Bruce, who was the president of Widener from 1981 through 2001. And as I mentioned before to the guys in the band, really transformed Widener College to Widener University, but it helped enable John to create an amazing music program. Bob Bruce.
Thank you, Dan. And guys, you were fantastic. I must comment, though, a little more gray and a little less hair, though, than I remember. But the music was still great. I was absolutely delighted when Dan got in touch with me and told me about today's event and asked me to say a few words, and I was even more pleased to have that opportunity. And John, you've been here for over 40 years. Wow, that is really extraordinary. You know, we all know that Widener does not have a music major, so the time I was president, it was rewarding for me to have the university be able to provide students from the varied amount of academic majors who had an interest in music the opportunity to continue their love of music and their performance. But it took a special person to do that, and that was John. He had the skills and the breadth within his music background to make it all work. And he did it all. Gosh, he did jazz to wind ensemble to the orchestra, and he was a one-man show. But over the years, the one thing I learned to admire about John's approach to teaching were the demands he put upon the student musicians. As a musician himself, he remained active in his profession over the years. He still is, as you know. And he expected his students to act and perform as professionals as well. And as a person engaged in his own craft, he was able to broaden the students' experience by exposing them to a myriad of professional musicians who he brought in. You heard some of them today sit in. So it was absolutely a great marriage when John came back to his alma mater. John provided the students, I thought, with a great opportunity to see what it was like to be a professional musician. The students competed with other college jazz groups. They went on the road occasionally. I remember one saying they did a tour of garages. They called them garage performances. And I have to tell you, I loved the pep band that played at the football games, except when I would be asked, one, why do they not play in the third quarter? And two, why didn't I tell them to play in the third quarter? And my response always was, one, I don't know why they don't play in the third quarter. And two, since they're not scholarship students, I can't tell them to play in the third quarter. So maybe, John, today you'll clear up why they never played in the third quarter for me and where that tradition came from. As John knows, I'm a lifelong jazz fan, and I've seen many of the greats in person, you know, Ellington, Basie, Ferguson, Garner. And I'm going to date myself today by saying when I was in college, I saw the Ellington Band in 1956 play at the Newport Jazz Festival, and that was the night that Paul Gonzalez played a solo that was 27 choruses long. And anyone who was at that would never forget that experience that evening. So when I was listening today, and my mind kept going back to, wow, this is a great performance, and it's something that I've always loved all my life. Let me briefly share 3 personal reminiscences with you. One spring semester, John asked me to narrate Copland's Lincoln Portrait. I accepted, but I told John, I don't read music. He said, not to worry. Just keep your eye on me. When I turn my head and nod at you, start talking. After one rehearsal, we actually pulled it off, and it sounded pretty darn good. The second thing I would like to mention today is on the occasion of my 50th birthday, I asked John if I could hire John and his group to play for me at the party. I said I would make up the playlist of the tunes I wanted him to play, which he did, and my kids still talk about saying they watched me with a scotch in hand about 11:30 at night, sitting under a tent, all by myself, listening to John play. And the third thing I would mention has to deal with Jerry Compton. My daughter Kim came to me when she was planning her wedding and said, "Dad, I'm having a problem getting a band. Would you help me?" And I said, "If you'll trust your father, I'll try." So I went to John, and he recommended I hire a recent graduate of Widener who had his own band, and that was Jerry. And they were hired, and I thought, if this doesn't work out, I am never going to be able to talk to my daughter again. It was the greatest hit, and after that, everybody talked about Jerry and his band. What was it called, Jerry? Delancey? Delancey Street, right. So when I came in today and saw Jerry, the first thing I said was, "Do you remember playing at my daughter's wedding?" John, you have had a remarkable career. 40 years goes by very quickly when you're doing something that you love. And I do remember that you kind of took a little advantage of me knowing I was a jazz fan. And there were times over the years that I had a feeling that when you came and asked me for things that you knew I would probably help. I was a kindred soul with John, and I had a difficult time telling him no. The recording studio, cutting of CDs, help with financial aid. They were all things that John was able to somehow persuade me that it was a good thing to support. But it was a labor of love, because I think the most incredible thing was today, all of these alumni, I was going to say young people, showing up today to John to pay tribute to you. And when I looked through the program and I saw the things they were doing professionally and their backgrounds as students that weren't music majors, it's just absolutely just a tribute to you. So over the years, John, you've touched the lives of countless numbers of students. You've touched the lives of many other people with your music. And I wish you and Mala all the best, and keep making music for many more years to come.
At this time, I'd like to welcome up Sharon, the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences.
Thank you all. On behalf of the entire administration of Widener University, I want to welcome all of you. Welcome back. We hope that this is the beginning of a new history of doing these alumni concerts. It was really fantastic. I really want to thank all of you who came out to play. They sounded great, didn't they? I particularly want to thank Dan Chester. Without his initiative and help, his sharing of his resources, his time, and his talent, we would never have been able to pull this concert off. It was more than we even dreamed of being able to do. And I also want to thank former President Bob Bruce for coming back. As you've heard, Bob Bruce was a huge supporter of the arts here at Widener, and I want to let everybody know that one of the things that was most important to me in accepting the deanship here was that I made it very clear that I was deeply committed to the arts, to all performing arts, including music, and to helping us grow the program and build on John's foundation and legacy, and connect music and the performing arts even more strongly to the mission of Widener and its focus on civic engagement. And one of the ways that we're doing that is by building audiences with Chester and really putting all of our culture and arts events here at Widener on the culture and arts map at Chester. We're doing a lot of work to build audiences. We have now a new marketing campaign where everything that happens in Chester gets advertised on our campus, and everything that happens on our campus gets advertised in Chester. And that's really the beginning of bringing not only Widener back on the map in terms of this work, but Chester too, because Chester has a very rich history of music and cultural work. So I'm happy to talk to anyone either during the reception or at another time who's interested in the initiatives that we're engaging in. But right now I really want to focus on John and John's legacy and how we're building on that. So one thing that I think is really important to know is that we're not losing John. A couple of you said, oh my God, you're losing John. I'm like, oh no, I didn't let that happen. I made sure that we had a way of staying connected to John. And so I'm really proud to announce, for those of you who don't know, that even though John's retirement from his full-time position as Director of Music and Recording Arts is effective on June 30th, effective July 1, John will be Widener's Artist in Residence. And this is a program that I hope to expand, and John is going to be our first and our best artist in residence. But we plan to build on that and really actually have an entire program of artists in residence for music, dance, the visual arts, and the performing arts, including theater. So one of the ways that we're going to do the work that I was talking about in terms of this bridge building and building our audiences is that John has very generously agreed, as part of his responsibilities as artist in residence, to not only continue to play here himself with his band Abstract Truth, but to use his considerable network to book other performing group for other bands here. And we now have this incredible room that John redesigned in which we can now perform. So we're really, really excited about that. And so we're going to continue to prosper from John's ongoing relationship with us, but I also do want to speak to John's legacy. This event, and working with Dan Chester and many others of you to put this together, has really been one of my great joys this year. You know, there's some things that aren't so fun about being dean, and then there are things that are fabulous about being dean, and this is one of them. And I really had a chance to talk to a good number of you, and I want to talk to the rest of you I haven't had a chance to talk with during the reception. But it was just one testimonial after another. And what's really clear about all the stories, and it doesn't matter whether someone graduated 40 years ago, or 2 years ago, or 1 year ago, all of the stories say two things. One is that John fostered a passion for music that continues in everyone to this day. And it's a seed that he planted that then you've passed on to your own children and also to children in your lives whom you've mentored and supported in various ways. It's amazing how many of you are working with children and arts groups in different parts of the country. And the other thing that's incredibly important about that legacy is that he didn't just teach you to keep up your passion for music, but he taught you so many different life lessons: self-discipline, teamwork, collaboration. And everyone has been so clear about how these life lessons are things that have fostered their incredible success in their careers, but also in their personal lives and in their lives as citizens. So I really want to honor John for all of that. And then, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, he's also leaving us the tangible legacy of this room. John, as most of you know, certainly those of you who are musicians know, John dreamed of taking this room that was, you know, just an old cinder block lecture hall without very good acoustics, and he magically redesigned this into a really stellar recital room. And I don't want anyone to ever forget that John did that work. And so we now have a plaque here that I will unveil. And the plaque reads, "This acoustically redesigned recital room was created by John A. Vanore, class of 1969, Director of Music and Recording Technology from 1974 to 2015, Artist in Residence 2013 and 2015 to forever." Thank you all, John, for making us all celebrate. And I have one more surprise. I'm very pleased to announce that we have created a John A. Vanore Fund for the Performing Arts. Don't allow named funds unless there's already a significant donation. And I can tell you that even though this is our first public announcement of this fund, quietly some people made some anonymous donations so that we were able to make this announcement today. We have forms for anyone who wants to, and with clear instructions about what to do to make sure that you can contribute to the fund. But this, to me, is one of the most important things about John's legacy, that we continue it by continuing to invest in our current students and do everything that we need. There are a few things even that we want to do to finish up this room. So John has some ideas about lighting and the curtain, some other things. But we're quite frankly thinking big. So anything you can do to help, anything, anyone who has any ideas would like to talk to me about the fund, I'm happy to talk to people afterwards. But thank you very much, and John.
One very important part of the fund, John, is when the fund reaches $100,000. It'll be a fund in perpetuity, but when it reaches that, there'll be a space at Widener University named in your honor. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Vince Muscarella up to the bandstand, and if anyone from his generation, if Jerry or anyone else would like to join him, please feel free, Mark, to say a few words, John. Here's Vince.
As Dan mentioned, any of the original members, please come down and join me. I was asked to speak about history, being a pre-med major here. One thing happens when you know you're asked to speak about history, you're getting older.
We lived it.
So we lived it. So I made just some common notes because I want everyone to really understand. No one can really imagine where this program came from. In 1971, I accepted a music scholarship here because I love music and I wanted to play, but I also wanted to go to medical school. And this college afforded me that, but it was not Widener College. As everyone behind me will tell you, it was PMC colleges. So President Bruce, and now I know I'm getting old, I was with another president before that. So we accepted that, and what no one probably doesn't realize from the newer generations, PMC colleges was two parts. It was Pennsylvania Military College, and just ran into one of my classmates. Would you end up captain, lieutenant general?
Yeah.
Whatever, okay. Major Healy. And PMC colleges, which was, quote, the civilian college. Now, to accept this, and I needed the money, and I love music, that meant the rest of us, if we were not in a cadet, we had to play in two bands here. One was the pep band, one was like a symphonic band, and we had to be available every day. Was it every day? We retired to colors? Every day in full uniform, dressed like West Point cadets. And you would never know it then, but I did have a lot of hair. We had to keep it cut short, and we were checked for facial hair and everything else, and we marched like cadets because they needed us to play. And John was not here. It was a very difficult year sometime, especially in the early 70s with everything else going on. And Mark and I remember became very, very good friends right away, and we actually considered leaving after the first year. We really were not happy with just the way things were going, and I'll bring you to a very funny story, I think. And John, I told him this, so I'm playing in two bands, and I'm sitting down in McMorland Center, down the snack bar, with a young lady who I just met from freshman year, and being 18 was a very exciting time. And suddenly, sometimes this gentleman walks over and sits next to me with this long hair and said, "Hey, you're Vince Muscarella, right?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "I'm John Vanore. I want to start a jazz band here." He said, "You interested?" I said, well, I'm not sure. I said, I'm playing in 2 bands. This is on scholarship. Oh yeah, this doesn't count. You just have to, the only thing you have to do is play 2 more rehearsals a week. But it won't count towards your scholarship. I said, well, can't I just get out of the other band? No, this is going to be an extra band. So in the sake of just speeding him away so I could talk back to my female companion, I said, sure, fine. So we practiced in a building that, I don't know if it was here, President was here, the Armory. I don't know when that went down. Was it here when you were here?
Yeah.
So this building is a very old building. Remember, this was a military college before us. And it was the Armory, where they kept the cannons and everything else. And the bullets, I guess, and everything. And we would practice on the top floor in this small room, a third of the size of this, and we played. We had no idea, and we played so loud it was deafening, and it was awful. We would leave there, and we'd be shaking our heads. Well, after that first year, John, our music director, left, and we've heard that John Vanore was going to stay and run the music program. Opened up a whole new world for us. He had great visions of what he wanted to do, and that also in that interim, the name was changed to Widener. And I can honestly say, we were just talking about Mark and I don't know if you remember, everyone here, we watched the library being built, we played for its dedication. So there was a big history here. Yeah, I really do sound the whole time. So we decided to stay, and over the next portion of time, things really changed. I made a couple of notes so I don't forget. One event that kind of almost connected us a little more with John, we were surprised. A few of us pledged a fraternity here on campus, Kappa Sigma. And it was our second semester, our freshman year, and we were pretty shocked to see when we went in and we started looking at pictures, there's a picture of John Vanore as a brother of Kappa Sigma, and I will honestly tell you, there was not one picture in every book he was not holding a trumpet. Everyone in that fraternity house knew he played and carried his trumpet everywhere, which was a great asset. So we did pledge, and over the course of time, over the 4 years, interestingly enough, we brought other people interested, and Kappa Sigma started to become known here on Widener as the music fraternity. Many, many brothers then pledged because of, again, influence of, so this thing just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. But while we were here, and you talked very eloquently about his inspiring us for interest in music, but it was more just an interest. We were treated, as you said, President Bruce, as professional musicians. We were yelled at, screamed at, we were called names. I was told, you can't have a lab this afternoon, you have rehearsal. And in January, when we had theoretically a month off, John came up with the greatest idea. He said, what do you need a month off for? What we'll do is we'll practice every day, twice a day, and then we'll go and tour and we'll play 2 or 3 concerts a day. We'll have a bus. I bought this shell so it'd be a good acoustically. All you have to do is, just pack it in every day. You pack out, you set up the stage, we'll tell the schools we'll be there, and this is how you'll spend your January. And we did it. And we really did it. But something happened those weeks when we had no other outside interests. We really did become musicians. We really did not only just hear, but we really felt the music. He taught us a tremendous passion for understanding music, but not just jazz, because his other aspects, then he worked with the, as you said, the symphonic band, the pep and other bands. Music became something really important. It became a really basis in our life. But what really solidified everything for us, I think, is that he had goals. He had tremendous goals. And some of them were here physically, but for us, one of the biggest things, he wanted us to compete in the Glassboro Jazz Festival. And to me, I'm a little Italian from Norristown, I had no idea what that was. And he said, you don't understand, if we get in, we'll be the only band or school there representing a college with no music, not one music major. So he, again, got us on the bandwagon. We practiced like crazy. And we're going to go to Glassboro. And that was an unbelievable, memorable event to be in that pressure. If any of you have seen that new movie, Whiplash, thank you. When they stood on that stage and someone's just commenting and just judging them, we did it because of John. We really did it. It was great. But the final highlight was he wanted to record. He didn't have this facility here. So we went, and the famous picture you see of all of us around, we went to Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia. And we walked in those doors. It was late at night, though. John made me remind me of that because there's a picture. What was it, 10:30 at night? It's the only time you get time. So we're sitting here practicing 10:30 at night in Philadelphia. But the amazing thing is walking by in the halls all the gold records of everyone who's ever really recorded there. And it was just an incredible experience. So these are, wow, yeah, there they are. All of us here, I know I am, and I'm sure I can speak for all of them, and I'm sure John will talk to you at the reception. You made a tremendous impact in our lives. They were unbelievable years, can never forget them, and I know that just passed on and on and on. So I know you're not retiring, because I've come to know you very well personally now over the years, and it's been a great honor to me to be hopefully considered a friend of yours. So I know this is not the end. I just know you have a million more ideas to go because you can't be stopped. Thank you.
This time I'd like to invite up Andy Amstutz and George Leimer. Just going to say a few words as well, John. Andy, George.
We are Andrew Amstutz and George Leimer. We'd like to say a few words about John and what he means to all of us. Andy and I graduated in '87, but I'm sure our words will resonate with every alumni here. Before we do that, we'd like to pause and say a couple of thank yous. First to Widener for hosting this event, to Dean Marr for her efforts and her role in cementing John's legacy here. And we'd like to pause and thank Dan Chester again. Dan has done a tremendous job of pulling this wonderful afternoon in honor of our friend and mentor, and it wouldn't have happened without him, so thanks, Dan. Classic. We tend to associate this word with certain things that are either extra special or uniquely enduring. So began the album liner for the appropriately self-titled 1987 Widener University Jazz Ensemble CD. Our first CD, live to 2-track, recorded over 2 days. No BS, no dubs, no nonsense. The real deal. The liner continued. The students performing in the Widener Jazz Ensemble do not major in music. They are majoring in engineering, business, and other fields, and are all uniquely committed to the goal of developing their musical understanding and performing ability concurrent with their academic pursuits. It was not a disclaimer. It was a statement of fact, a statement meant to emphasize the pursuit of excellence in music without compromise for individuals who were effectively double or triple major, a statement about the program. Widener academics were demanding enough, but music was very different. John was different. The program was different. The program was a philosophy, a way of thinking, a culture. It was heavy. You learned about the program's legends, many of whom were seated on this stage today. For us, names like Crompton, Crash, Chester. You were seated next to and playing with legends in the making. For us, names like Headley, Bentley, Borowski, DeVito, McInerney. They carried the principles and safeguarded the culture of the program. You quickly learned that in the program, playing in the band was not a right, it was a privilege. In high school, you might have been embarrassed to be in the band. In John's program, you had the earned privilege to play, and you were proud of it. And for most of us, it was the reason that we came to Widener. Companies spend hundreds of millions of dollars to develop culture. Books are written and movies are made about it. John had already figured it out. Culture was integral to a successful music program and integral to the development of the individuals within the program. John succeeded at constructing a self-perpetuating culture of excellence, a culture of pride, a culture of accomplishment. What first struck you about John were certain qualities.
What do you mean, George?
It took us a long time to edit these qualities. He was direct, convicted, not in the criminal sense. Right? Never convicted.
Is that right?
Philosophical, funny, intimidating, irreverent. John was deliberate and intentional. Everything he did, every story, every example had a purpose. John would explain that getting music right was like going into a physics test, but not just getting the answer right. Instead, music was like having every student take their pencil, pick it up at the same time, put it down on the paper with the same pressure, write the same exact answer, and normally, by the way, with this example, he's leaning forward, pick the pencil back up off the paper at the same time, and put it back down in exactly the same way. A deliberate graphic example John used to describe what it was like to succeed in music.
John demanded performance. It wasn't really about how talented you are, but how dedicated and focused you were and how hard you tried. It was full commitment, it was full focus, it was full intensity. John was principled. He always built and reinforced the foundations of the program. If he sensed the lack of focus, he'd pick on a detail. And he'd make a meticulous, painful example of it to make his point. But it was through those examples that he installed core principles in each of us, and by extension, made the program stronger. And then John encouraged risk-taking, originality, and fun. He figured out that the mirror image to hard work and intensity was to allow individuals to exercise their creative instincts, let's call it. Fortunate for me. Hard work, hard play. The result was some of the greatest practical jokes ever played on people, and a series of stories passed from class to class, always embellished until they too became legend. And looking back, it was really John's storytelling of the principles, the legends, the original behavior that made the music and program and Widener different. John produced in all of us a very unique kind of confidence. A confidence tempered by humility that empowered us, a confidence that instilled a real extreme sense of personal responsibility and ownership. You do because you can, not because you have to, was a core principle. The result was undoubtedly unique. As example, the pep band was student-led, yet there was no slippage in the musical quality. More guidance, as Mr. Headley liked to call it, was dished out by the seniors than was dished out ever by John. Personal responsibility and ownership that drove the program was what drove the program and really changed how each individual thought and operated. And for all of us, the impact of the program and by extension John on us was life-changing and reverberates today. The alumni sitting before us here are entrepreneurs. They're technology innovators, music producers, business executives, inventors. They're winners of a wide range of awards and recognized leaders in their respective fields. Each received a diploma in a particular field, our respective bachelor degrees. But from John, we received our master's degree in leadership. And so today, as we thank John as he heads into another phase of his life and career, we look forward to what he's going to do next. Undoubtedly, it will be unique, focused, full on, full John. John always had an excerpt of a Charlie Parker quote hanging around his office. Music is your own experience, your own thoughts, your wisdom. The remainder of the quote says, if you don't live it, it won't come out of your horn. They teach you there's a boundary to music, there's a boundary line to music, but man, there's no boundary line to art. John taught us to approach life with no boundaries and to relentlessly pursue excellence. And to do it because you can. In the end, it really, for a lot of us, was less about the music and more about the philosophy. the philosophy of success. So John, congratulations on your retirement. On behalf of all of us, thank you for your impact. Widener and your students are forever richer because of your program. And you and your legacy are indeed classic.
Woo!
We have a special video presentation that we're going to put on now. Tony? There are a few people that couldn't be here, wanted to be able to express themselves. I'm talking to Tony in the early part of this process. It's why don't we offer an opportunity to do a video, mail it or email it. So Tony put together a really lovely video for you to see right now.
Hello, my name is Ian Moyer. I'm the newly appointed Director of Athletic Bands at Widener University. And John, I want to wish you a happy retirement and congratulations on a fabulous career. We can only hope to carry on the legacy you've created for Widener music.
Hi John, it's Mark Verdi, class of 1990. Wanted to wish you well in your retirement. My little guy's listening to music, loves it. And your trip to Hartford Junior High School that inspired me to come to Widener, and I really appreciate it. Good luck to you. Take care.
Dave Watson, trumpet, class of 86. John, congratulations on your retirement. Greetings from sunny Florida. Widener, we'll miss you.
Hi, I'm Jim Crawford, class of 1974, otherwise known as Papa Chops, because when the band began, John switched me from tenor trombone to bass bone to add more bottom. We had a lot of fun in the jazz ensemble, and John made it so. We thank you for your career, John, and have a great retirement, and God bless you.
behalf of all the alumni, we'd like to make a serious thank you to Tina Phillips in the Alumni Engagement Office, Dean Sharon Moore in the College of Arts and Sciences, Amy Wilson, the Associate Vice President for Development, Michaela Tauscher, Tony McEnany for coordinating and producing the video messages, George and Karen Leimer for putting together the sign-in message book, which is out in the lobby, I believe it's over here, and slideshow. So please take a moment if you haven't signed and given John a quick message to please at least sign in for John. And Glenn Cardy for all of his logistical help here today. Glenn, thanks very much. With that, their enthusiastic support and coordination were invaluable in helping to make today's celebration so very special. Nelson Mandela once said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived, it's what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead." John, you've made a profound difference in all of our lives. When I think about you, one thing always comes to mind: your passionate pursuit of excellence. Not simply the obvious pursuit that one might think of in the many musical performances throughout the years, but your passionate pursuit of excellence for each of us. Good enough was never acceptable. You helped to instill a set of uncompromising values that we have all carried throughout our lives. The time was always very important to you, John. Whether teaching us the Count Basie back of the beat style, or simply not wasting an ounce of it. We hope that when you wear this watch we're about to give you, you will remember fondly the time that we shared through the years together, and this special day when we all came together to honor and thank you for what you have meant to all of us. John Vanore.
You know, I've never had that much to say. I think the appropriate thing is to start with something I've been working on the last couple of days. My surprise to you guys. So the group of people that were standing around Vince Muscarella, Vince, where are you?
Here.
The group of people, you're going to remember this. This is about 11 o'clock at night in January 1975. Can't say too much here, it'll be a little tough. So anyway, I thought, before I mention that, the greatest thing about being here today is I'm with my family, and I'm blessed to have my wife and children here, but when I say my family, it's all of you in these seats. That was my family on those recordings. 30 years, those recordings go from 1975 to 2006. It was 30 years of recordings there with there's no difference, you know, and I thank all of you for putting up with me. Because it would have been really easy to go, who in the hell does he think he is? You know, and I think, you know, I love it. Yeah, right. I thought it, and like, you know, but young in, and that's the result. And I mean, you know, the quote I put on the program this year, you know, I've tried to not be too public about this until after today. I'm sure everybody knows it's that kind of thing, like, you know, you cheat on your wife and everybody knows. So anyway, you know, I tried to not make it too public, but on the program, on the back I had this, I forget the exact quote, it's not important. The essence of the quote was about how, you know, life has it has a beginning and has an end, but what really counts is what you can create in between in that time that's timeless. And that's timeless. So it was 30 years. It's 30 years. It started at 30 years. The beginning thing was 1975. The ending thing was 1979. They're almost, I think all of them are, they aren't doctored. They aren't technologically improved. They were the raw performances that all of you did, my family, you know? And I'm honored to have you as my family. And the irony, I didn't really plan a lot here, so the irony is, you know, when I was a student here, after my first year, you know, I never had, coming from a blue-collar family, I never thought having a career in music was a reality, you know, and I didn't want to become a music teacher. You know, I said to my father, what, you know, I'm going to take aerospace engineering because I always loved it, you know, I was good at that and I liked science, so I was going to do that. And I thought, man, I don't want to be a high school band director, that's a rotten job. You know, I'm not going to do that. So then after the first year of school, I always played the trumpet, of course, you know, so I like playing the trumpet. I didn't see that as a career possibility. So I was pretty bored after my freshman year. You know, it just wasn't hard enough. So I went to a music camp at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. And there, the person running that camp was Oliver Nelson, who's, you heard all that music. And I remember the day sitting next to the French horn player in that group that I said, I'm going to do this. And then hence the pictures of me, every picture of Widener holding the trumpet, you know? And then by some kind of circumstance, I ended up back and became a music teacher. So, but as you all know, I kept playing. So I guess, you know, I'd like to, the people that made this happen for me was that meeting of Oliver Nelson, the composer I studied with, Dennis Sandoli, and my father, who supported me in every way, and who imposed that great phrase, what are you doing? You all know. What are you doing? Okay? Well, you know what? You all know what you're doing, and you know what you did. And I thank you for it. So I guess we should have a good time now and give some hugs, and thank you all.
all very much. Thank you very much.